Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Colin, and today we're going to talk about the Codes of Conduct policy. As we all know, being a student is hard, and not many people are talking about this topic since I don't really want to scare anyone out of this, which is why I want to broad it out and explain why this policies is matter to us as a student and how we can improve our own mistake that we make within our behavior. But there are just like a set of rules that the University of South Carolina provided for us to use in maintaining our behavior within the people that we are working with. I know it sounds complicated, but let me tell you about what my policy that I am going to be changed and how it can help the student to grow in understanding the codes of conduct policy, um, taking responsibility for their action within the pupil that they are working with, and improving their own behavior. The policy changing that I am arguing from, which is I already said it before, is the codes of conduct policy, need to be changed into steps of conflict resolution or restoring practices instead of just punishing. That can be education on a small seminar or different kind of workshop, like understanding the codes of conduct itself, how to apply it in real life situation, and how it can help you to improve on your behavior and avoiding on your future violation or conflict. My change agent that has to be from the Dean of Student Office at the University of South Carolina because they're mostly working close with student, listen to student concern about something, and have the authority to change if it applies to the codes of conduct. Before we even dive deep into the topic of the codes of conduct policy, let me talk about what it is. According to the the codes of conduct policy mentioned that the policy that prohibiting behavior that caused by student and the outcome of a violation of the prohibited conduct. The main goal of this policy change is to educate students, understanding more about the codes of conduct itself, taking responsibility, improving their behavior, and not repeating the same mistake over and over again. Having a code of conduct violation doesn't mean that you're a bad person or a student, but they are not fully understand the cost of conduct consequence that can be um, that they have to go through. Some of the most common violations are including alcohol misuse under 21, drug misuse, hazing in student organization, fire and safety violation, and disrupting behavior. At the University of South Carolina in 2024, the Student Codes of Conduct is an outline of student behavior, expectation, and how the violation conflict is handling. One of our most common violation in the Codes of Conduct is alcohol misuse, which is including underage drinking. Like if you're under 21, don't just drink, and if you know that you're driving, don't also drink. Providing alcohol use at under age of 21 or minor in the drinking, they are all prohibited behavior. Many students just think this is a normal college behavior, but this is not. It can lead to a serious consequence like probation or suspension. Understanding this helps the student think before they make the right choice. Another common violation is fires and safety. This would be including pulling the fire alarm for no reason, blocking exits, or using unsafe item material in your dorm room like candle and so on. They are rule. Not only they are a policy, but they are there for you to protect anyone in a safe environment. Hazing is another serious problem or violation that would include forcing someone to do the action in a harmful way, which can hurt someone emotionally or physically. Respecting and safety should always come first. Drug misuse is also another serious problem violation, which it can handling that can harm to your health and physically. This would include misuse medication without your legal name in it. Illegal drugs are not allowed in any kind of situation to be used, and selling, transferring, and giving away drug or medicine in any kinds of area is also not allowed. They are there to protect your health of using drug and knowing how to use them properly by their prescription of the medication. Last but not least, we have disorder conduct is also another serious violations are including fighting, disrupting behavior, or harassment, or all behaviors should be avoided, not to hurt other and handling it in a good way. That's helping the student to learn from their own action. By teaching the student about the codes of conduct through a small seminar, which we're going to talk about in the next section, I believe, can help the student preventing future violation by learning from our own mistake before they even happen again in the future. Um, Next, we're going to be connect these common violations to the value of the Carolina Decree at the University of South Carolina. According to Goodrill, said that the Carolina Decree is a set of value that teach the tool to encouraging students, faculties, and staff aspiring up their own behavior. This line means that the Carolina Decree is a way to encouraging students, staff, and faculty to improving or changing their own behavior out of the Carolina Decree. The Carolina Decree's value are practicing academic integrity and personalizing yourself, responsibility of every action that you do, respecting to everyone you're working with, and helping out each other in need. These violations do go against these values, but students can learn to change their behavior when they are given a guidance instead of just punishment. According to the University of Chicago Education Lab said that restorative practicing can make a real positive difference in addressing student social emotional need. This line means that restorative practice is a way to educate us of being succeeds and improving um, need of our behavior. When something goes wrong or mistake that we make that can be improved on our future and safety environment. Misuse alcohol goes against the Catholic Creed's value of respecting to everyone responsible of the action that you're making, and restorative practice helps students to reflect following the right rule and respecting to each other, boundary around drinking. Also, never force anyone to drink when they have a limit of drinking it and not enough age as well, like if you're under age of 21, kind of like that. Fires and safety violation do also go against the Calorie Creed value of keeping our community safety, caring about each other, and as well as restorative practice help the student to understand the impact of their choice and when fire are around them to get everyone in a safe area and changing their behavior. Hazing in organization goes against the Catholic Creed value of respecting to everyone that you are working with, caring for each other in need, personalizing responsibility, and restorative practice helps students to reflecting on the harm caused and learn positive ways to build a safety community or environment. Drug misuse also go against the Catholic Creed value of practicing personalizing yourself and caring for other abusing of drug or medicine when their health go wrong. This would then connect to restorative practice by helping the student to reflect on their harm caused within the drug, take responsibility of your own action, and make healthier choice in the future. Disrupting behavior, um, like disorder conducts are including fighting, harassment, are all goes against the Carolina Creed value of respectful to everyone that you're working with, caring out each other, take responsibility, and restoring practices can help the student to reflect on the harm that they caused from another person, learning a better way to handling conflict and repairing the harm that the person did. The Catholic Creed set value and restorative practice teach us to learn from our own mistake throughout a small seminar, which we're going to also talk about this in the next section, on the code of conduct itself, can help students reflecting on their own behavior, preventing future violation, and improving their daily behavior. The next step is I'm going to be creating a new workshop that dedication to understanding the codes of conduct itself. The codes of conduct outcome provide us that the university already have a separate workshop that the student have to go through, like an alcohol education model, essay and reflection of their behavior, student taking initiative and responsibility, like they call it the STIR, called STIR, or STIR with the plus one. We have therapy assisting online, like TAO module, and conflict style assessment, which is this website is not even working at all. I tried it out and it's not working. These are there. They are very helpful workshop, but they usually happen after the student that already gotten in trouble. The missing workshop that would help the student understand is the codes of conduct itself, which they don't really provide this one yet, but I really wanted to create it. Many students breaking the rule not only because they want to, but because they don't fully understand them. And what's the code of conduct actually mean in real life? The policy wording can be confusing sometimes, which is going to be like me when I read it, and the student might not realize that some certain behavior, like helping a friend to cheat on the exam or even help out doing the homework for them, or being involved in hazing, especially in organization, or creating unsafe situation in resident hall, are serious violation. This new workshop would explain the codes of conduct in a simple, clear meaning. It would go over a common violation that the student most violated from, educating them on how to prevent it, what count as prohibited behavior, and the consequences usually are out of it. It would also use real life situation that the student can relate to, such as situation are involving in party, group chat, conflict with roommate, or pre I think they call it preserve from organization. Student would be able to explain their own work about what they would do in these kind of situation, and then we were gonna ask why and how they can prevent it. The workshop would also including short reflection activity where students can think about their own choice, what they make and how their behavior affecting on other people, and explaining how they would impact that person. This connects to restorative practice because the focus is not just on punishment, but on helping students understand the impact of their action about how to make better choice in the future. This workshop also connects to the Catholic Creed because it's focused on respecting to everyone that they are working with, responsibility for every action that they do, and personalizing growing instead of just telling the student what not to do. The workshop would teach them how to make a better decision and be more aware of how their action would affect to the campus community. Overall, this workshop would help the student preventing future violation, reducing repeating conflict, and supporting student in learning from our own mistake. It support the idea that the codes of conduct itself should not just about the script line, but about education and growing up their action. Another step will be explaining how this policy would change can actually be effect within the change of the Dean of Student Office, since my Chang Asian is the Dean of Office at the University of South Carolina. They are mostly focused on students, seeing students how they would interacting in the university and and they have the ability to change the policy to improving on the codes of conduct, a better policy for the student to understand. The codes of conduct also a process of working directly with student to go through the conduct case. The first step was the Dean of Student Office can change um, the codes of conduct to include restorative and education-based of response as a first step, especially with the first time violation. This means that instead of just focus on only in punishment, the student would be guided into learning-based opportunities such as reflecting workshop, which will include a couple of activity, an assignment, conflict resolution section, or restorative practice conversation that can be any kind of event on campus, which is like last 2 weeks ago, we have the Canada Cree event that are happening on campus. The student would still be held accountable, it, but in a way that helping them to understand the impact of their acts of their to other people. The second step was the office could add the new codes of conduct workshop and including it as a part of conduct process. For example, if the student who commit a minor violation could be required to complete this workshop instead of only just receiving punishment. This would help the student to learn what the codes of conduct really mean, how they would apply it to real life situation, and how to avoid making the same mistake again in the future, and even can be toward to your career in the future. Overall, this change supports the student to grow and learning while still protecting the campus community and more welcoming to other. We are here for a safe space, more on being accountable for ourselves and caring for one another. It is shift the focus from only punishment to learning, responsibility, and behavioral change. This can help to reduce repeating violation over time. Now it's time for us to talk about what makes this policy change have such an impact on recidivism to reduce violation. But first, we are going to be talking about some of the example of the academic integrity workshop that they can be relate to the new codes of conduct workshop that I am creating. The last and final step will be focused on whatever the codes of conduct policy change can reduce recidivism within the repeating violation. One of the strong examples that already exists on campus is the academic integrity workshop. When student violated the academic integrity workshop, academic integrity policy, they are most oftenly required to completing academic integrity education workshop that can be explained what the academic integrity mean, why does it matter, and how their choice affecting their academic and professional future. The academic integrity workshop does not just punishing student, it teaches the student how to avoid making the same mistake again. This academic integrity workshop can serve as a successful blueprint for my new creation of the Codes of Conduct workshop. The same learning-based approach can be applied to other first-time violations, such as alcohol misuse, disorder conduct, hazing in organization, fires and safety, and drug misuse. Instead of only receiving the outcome, the student would then completing the Codes of Conduct workshop at their case process that explaining the policy in a simple, clear meaning, showing real life example, and the student would be able to explain their own word about what they would do in these kind of situation, um, and why and how they can prevent it, and also help them reflecting on their behavior impacting on other. This would then approach also create a more permanent impact on their behavior when students understand why their behavior is matter on these kind of effects of each other and how it's connect to their future goal. They are more likely to change their behavior in a long-term goal. For example, discussion can connect conduct violation to a real-world consequences in job and career, such as professionalism, trust, and accountability, like how some of the job or career will look into your conduct check in college because they are care about your responsibility and your own decision-making skill, and these skills start developing in college. By applying this as an education model to first-time violation, the university can reduce repeating violation and recidivism, supporting students to grow and helping students to build habit that supporting their future success. This shows that the policy change is not only realistic, but is also affecting and creating a long-term goal of behavior change in their future pathway. To close up everything and conclude, I am asking the Dean of Student Office at the University of South Carolina to priorities in recidivism and changing in the codes of conduct, so that the conflict resolution and restorative practice, education-based respond are prioritized, especially for first-time violation. I am also asking them to create a new codes of conduct education workshop that the student understanding what the policy really mean in real life situation. This change would not remove responsibility for their action, but the student would still be responsible of their action. But they would have been given the chance to learn from their own mistake instead of only be punishing right away. When students understand why their behavior is harmful to other, they would change how they would interacting with each other and how um, and they are more likely to change that behavior in the future. This policy change also supporting students to grow and succeed over time. As a student, it helps students better understand expectation from the policy, taking responsibility of their action and make a better choice in the future. Over time, this approach can reduce repeating violation and creating a more respectful environment for the campus and the surrounding community because it's giving the student a better understanding of the university expectation. I believe that this change is realistic, meaningful, and beneficial for both student and the university by shifting the focus from punishment to education and restorative practice. We can turn conduct case into a learning opportunity in an environment that help the student to grow. It takes time to fully absorb and learning from their mistake, and that is why it is important to focus on the overall recidivism. Thank you all for listening to the Codes of Conduct Policy presentation, and anyone have any questions that I can Whitley go over with.
Yeah, so would you say that we see more violations to the code of conduct because students have difficulty understanding the wording of it, or because they're not introduced to the rules and policies that are within it, like when they're freshmen?
I feel like it's mostly like the wording because sometimes some of the student wouldn't like understanding how these kind of going through, and if they're like able to understand it well, they would be like knowing what their expectation the university want, and and so on, kind of like that.
I'm just curious, what made you pick this topic for your policy change?
Um, I found it was like interesting and I really want to know like more into it.
Hmm.
Um, like how we can like actually change our behavior, kind of like that.
Hmm.
As a new student, you have to do these modules before doing classes and whatnot. How do you think you can edit those modules that we have to do as students to kind of fit what your policy change?
Mm, I would like creating uh, a workshop that like ready for student to be working on in the early on instead of just like if the student like already violated. I feel like having opportunity to putting it early, student would know what the university expectation are that they have to go through with.
Do you think that that these rules are purposely worded kind of complex and hard to understand?
I feel like it's yeah, because sometimes like at first I was reading it, some of the word like doesn't mean to me or I have like a hard time to like knowing what they want and being like able to change word a little bit, then I feel like student would like understanding what they would not do, kind of like prohibited behavior, kind of like that.
Do you think your seminar will have a bigger impact on like maybe the innocent kid who's trying to learn what is right and what is wrong, or have a bigger impact on maybe a bad kid and try and change their behavior?
I feel like it's both, but if I would like opening a seminar, it has to be like a bigger, everyone have a different kind of change in our behavior and they would go in there and like learn different kind of thing that like that would change our behavior, kind of like that.
So if we moved it from a punishment to these workshops, how many chances do you feel like a student should get before there is a punishment?
I feel like two, but I'm just not like really sure about it.
Okay, fair enough. Any other questions? Okay, you can stop your recording.